Well, hello and welcome to this edition of The Buzz. I am here, of course, with our mayor, Westland Mayor Bill Wild, and we are at the newly opened Firehouse Subs right across the street from City Hall. Now, Mayor, one of the things you and I have in common is our love for hot sauces. Have you had the opportunity to get over here and try some of those over there?
You know, I've been so excited about this new Firehouse Subs opening. They got so many great subs, but Aubrey's right. When you walk in the door, the first thing you see is this giant rack of hot sauces, and it's probably the most impressive collection of hot sauces, except for the one that Aubrey keeps in the refrigerator at City Hall. But they've got something for everybody's taste, and you know, the subs here are just incredible. I talked with the owner, Brad Wilson, who we're going to talk with in a little bit later in the show, and he's a Westland resident, but he says the most popular things are the Italian, the steak and cheese, and he's got something that I want to try today. It's called the Smokehouse Beef and Cheddar Brisket. He says they smoke their brisket for 16 hours, so that sounds pretty good to me.
It definitely does, and I have had the opportunity to try quite a few subs on the menu, and I'm a big fan myself. So
so throw the hot sauce right on your sub. I mean, they got this stuff here too. It's you can buy this here. It's the Firehouse Captain Sorensen's Dado Pepper Hot Sauce. That sounds interesting, doesn't it?
It definitely does. You know, the other interesting thing about this location, and I believe all the Firehouse Subs have these, is this mural here that this one is catered to Westland. It's got a nice depiction of Westland City Hall. It's very cool.
They did an incredible job with it, and you know, the City Hall is a beautiful City Hall, but they captured it incredibly on this mural. So if you haven't seen it yet, you definitely got to come down and check it out. But that definitely gives it that hometown feel when you walk in the restaurant.
And another thing that they also offer here is chili. And since, sad to say, summer is over in our all-American city, and it is definitely fall, so it would be a good time to come in and get a bowl of chili with your sub, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell it's fall, which means football season, because on one of the TVs off the screen, they're actually showing previews or replays from last night's Monday Night Football. So it's definitely fall, and I have not had their chili yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's definitely a Firehouse staple, so you definitely have to try it.
That's probably better suited for those hot sauces than the subs.
Right.
So
since, you know, we touched on the fact that fall is here and it was an incredibly busy summer, we have a lot of things to discuss today because, as you said earlier, Westland, this year in Westland was really the summer of progress.
You know, it really has been. There's just been so much new stuff going on in town. We're so excited about it, and what better place than the Buzz to talk about all the great stuff. And you know, there's been a lot of work on lighting this year. We'll start off with there, and you know, the City of Westland. You know, we started back in the year 2015 converting our street lights over to LEDs, and we started off with a small pilot project in the Annapolis Park subdivision in the south end of town, which we started off with 166. We changed out the old mercury vapor street lights to the new LED lights, and we really started saving money almost instantly. We followed it up with phase 2 in August of 2015, where we changed out 230 of these mercury vapor fixtures up and down the major roads and at the intersections. Phase 3, we went back into the neighborhoods and we converted over 2,400 street lights back in the neighborhoods. And Aubrey, just recently, the Westland City Council just passed the final phase of the LED lights, and that's going to change out. You know, at this point, we've already changed out all the mercury vapor lights. Now we're going to change out the remaining 800 plus lights that were high pressure sodium lights. We're going to be changing, you know, those are those yellow lights. When you go by, LED lights are just so beautiful and white, and the old sodium lights are kind of yellow. So we're changing all of those out, and we're also going to be installing new lights to a lot of areas around town that have been considered dark areas in the past. And We're going to be putting lights all up and down Newburgh Road, which is something that's needed for a long time. We're going to be adding a bunch of additional lighting to the Shop and Dine District. We're going to be adding lights on Wildwood Road between Ford Road and Hunter over by the Mike Modano Ice Arena, which is another really dark area of town. And also in a couple other areas around town where we've had some pedestrian accidents. And believe it or not, in 2017, the city had 19 pedestrian injury accidents where police had to go out and because an individual was struck by a vehicle. So, you know, it's been a lot of work. These LED lights are really, you know, they brighten up the city, which makes it safer. And I'm really excited about getting some of those dark areas in town lit up for the first time.
Well, that's great. And of course, you know, the safety of the residents of Westland is the #1 priority. And not only is this going to make things safer for them, but it actually is also going to save the City of Westland and the taxpayers $64,000 a year with these new energy efficient lights as well. So it's pretty incredible that Westland's one of the first communities in Wayne County to go 100% LED.
You know, it's part of our Mission Green initiative here in the City of Westland to be environmentally responsible, and we're proud of the fact that Westland's going to be one of the first suburban cities to be totally LED. I mean, a lot of cities like maybe Ann Arbor get a little bit more press on being environmentally friendly, but I'll put what we've done in the City of Westland against anybody, and our LED lights are definitely going to save us a lot of money, and with the current phase, we're going to have our investment back probably less than 3 years.
Well, that's incredible. It sounds like a really progressive project that you guys have undertaken here, and you know, and I know that's only part of your plan to increase the safety and mobility for residents in the area, and a part of that is a pretty comprehensive infrastructure plan that we have going on. So can you explain a little bit what falls under the category of infrastructure?
You know, that's a great question because it really is quite a lot, and you know, since I've been mayor, I've really tried to work with the city council on reinvesting in our city. You know, it was just our 50-year anniversary last year, so infrastructure is something we're going to continue to invest in. That means a lot to a lot of people, but basically that covers our roads, our sewers, our water mains, bridges, sidewalks, and so much more. But speaking about progress and speaking about some of this infrastructure work, how about if we shoot it right out to our DPW director, Ramsey El Garib. He's actually on the scene of one of our biggest road projects for the summer. So with that, let's go out to Ramsey.
2018 has been a great year on our road construction in the City of Westland. As directed by the mayor and approved by City Council, this year we started a major infrastructure improvement project / construction in the city, where we have tackled all components of our infrastructure such as roads, water, sewer, sidewalks, and bridges. We have started about 17 projects this year. Some of them have been completed, some of them are under construction, and some of them are in the planning stage, and they will be completed by spring or by early summer of 2019. Major projects that we completed so far this year is Farmington Road. This is between Ford and Hunter. We are right now on Wildwood, which is another major road project that we started this year. We're doing pavement removal and replacement. This is between Palmer and Cherry Hill, and we are standing here at Bayview and Wildwood Road, and that project should complete by hopefully by mid-October, and we're gonna move on other projects in the city. The other projects that are in the planning stage are some water main and some sewer rehab projects. We are doing water main replacement at the northeast corner of the city. Some of the streets that we will be working on are Floral, Deering, and Cardwell. And at the same time, we have a project that we have already approved by City Council to line sanitary sewers in the Norwayne area, and we will be doing another project in the spring, which is another section of the city. The bridge project, where we received a grant from MDOT to improve bridges or bridge decks at Newburgh Road and at Ann Arbor Trail, we have about $400,000 grant from the state to do this road or this bridge, and this project should start in the spring of 2019 and completed by early summer of 2019. We have sidewalk projects too that are going on in the city and that are in the planning stage. We started an Annapolis project about 2 months ago, and this is a joint project with the city of Inkster. This project is almost complete, and this is again a joint project between the city of Westland and the city of Inkster. Other major project is Ford Road, which is from the city's western limit to Wayne Road. This project has been planned and completed by MDOT and at no cost to the city of Westland. And again, this project should be completed in the next few weeks. As you can see, roads and infrastructure are the utmost concern to our residents, the mayor and the city council. These projects will continue over the next few years, where every year we will plan and execute multiple infrastructure projects in the city of Westland. If you have any concerns or if you have any questions, please visit thecityofwestland.com, where we will post these projects on the city's website. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ramsey, and it was great to hear about all the incredible road work. No one around the city of Westland knows more about all the progress that's being made with our infrastructure than Ramsey, so wonderful to hear all of that, but I know he didn't hit it all, so.
It's hard to believe after all that there's still more. I mean, he really has done a great job with his department, and when you look at all the work that he talked about, if you put it on the map, I mean, we're really covering all parts of the city, so no matter what neighborhood you live in, you should have seen some improvements, if not in your neighborhood, very close to your neighborhood. And you know, there were a couple things that Ramsey didn't mention that I think are worth mentioning, and one of them is we got some grant money to do some sidewalk work. It's on Newburgh Road, and it's if you walk the city at all, you'll know that once you pass the new Clyde Smith subdivision, heading towards Joy Road, the sidewalk ends. And there's some, it's almost like I guess like a swamp that you got to cross to get over. But we were able to get some money. Ramsey was actually able to get us this money from SEMCOG, and we're going to be improving that area, connecting that sidewalk over that marshy area. Ramsey also received money from MDOT to work on the bridge, and that's the bridge on Newburgh Road north of Warren. They call it the Ann Arbor Trail Bridge. That's an MDOT project as well. That bridge, actually, there was a vehicle that went off the road back in the winter that struck that bridge and did some damage to it. So Ramsey did a good job working with the state of Michigan to not only repair that, but also to give that bridge, it's a walkable pedestrian bridge, a makeover. And you know, all in all, we're probably going to spend about $6 million on investment on infrastructure in the city of Westland this year. You know, and that comes, funding for that comes from a lot of different areas, Aubrey.
So you mentioned a couple areas that it comes from, the sidewalk came from grants. Can you tell me a little bit how that works?
Yeah, you know, so actually it's tough for a city the size of Westland to put $6 million together in 1 year to work on infrastructure. But we've done it through a variety of ways, and we did it through grants. Ramsey was able to get us grants for that pedestrian bridge and the sidewalk repairs or the sidewalks that we're trying to fill in. We also used our local road money and our major road money, which comes from the state of Michigan, as part of our funding, which comes from the gas tax at the gas pumps. And this year, the legislators did actually give us additional money this year, so we're going to probably have close to $3 million of road money that we're going to be using throughout the year on the major roads, the local roads, doing maintenance on the roads. You'll see us also do a lot of improvements in the water and sewer system, and those funds come out of the water fund. And there's a portion of everybody's water bill that goes back to the water fund, which helps us to maintain and improve that system. A lot of people don't realize that we get our water from the city of Detroit, but our infrastructure, you know, we have over 200 miles of infrastructure underground to deliver water. The city of Westland is responsible for that, so we definitely use the water fund for that. You know, we did a lot this year. You know, one of the things that we've been trying to do over the last couple of years is kind of chipping away at our older buildings in the city of Westland, and we've done a lot of work. Obviously, the city hall was a big piece of that. The police station, Jefferson Barnes, we did a fire station. But this year we're also going to put some more money into the Westland Friendship Center. And if you've gone by there lately, you already started to notice that it looks different from Newburgh Road. We're giving it a much needed freshen up. There was a very unsightly, like a kneel wall that went across the front, and the bricks had just looked really bad. So that's been removed now, and you're going to see new landscaping in the front. There's a digital sign that's going to be installed here before winter, and that's going to be very similar to the one in front of Westland City Hall, and it's a great way for us to communicate with our residents and the traffic. You're also going to see work being done on the roof at the Friendship Center. The older floor tiles on the interior have already been replaced. There's new exercise equipment that's in the works. In the meeting rooms, they're seeing a much needed renovation. And over and all, we're going to continue to reinvest in the Friendship Center, and it's something, this is kind of the second phase of that. We've got a few more phases to go there, but I think that as we continue to chip away on updating that building, we're going to continue to have one of the finest senior centers anywhere that you'll find in the Detroit area. So we're very proud of it.
And I know that we've gotten a lot of really positive feedback in our office from seniors who are really excited about all the work that's going on over there, so it's great. And I know also Barb Markham is very excited about that digital sign, so she doesn't have to get out there and put up the letters on the marquee anymore, so it's good to make her happy.
Poor Barb, she has this little tiny sign, and every week we give her new messages that are like 100 characters long, and her sign holds about 20, so, but she's always done it in. You know, those digital signs, it's just an improvement. We use them to communicate events in the city. We can use them to communicate emergencies, and also the Senior Center will definitely be able to use it to market all the great things that are going on at the Friendship Center on a day-to-day basis.
That's great. Well, with all the new and improved lighting and infrastructure and roads and sidewalks and amenities that we've got going on around, you know, it kind of is a draw for some new businesses and some new investments. So it's really exciting to hear about all the economic development aspects that are going on as well. You
know, you're absolutely right. You know, you've heard me say it a bunch of times, and we've had economic development experts, you know, all across the country on WLND, and they will tell you the same thing, is that private investment follows good public investment. So we're reinvesting in the city, we're reinvesting in our buildings and our infrastructure, and it is really starting to pay off with a lot of new private investment as well. And we're going to toss it out to Bruce. He's going to talk about, we had a city council meeting a couple weeks ago that there were over $20 million worth of new investments on one agenda item. So we're going to, on one agenda, so I'm not going to steal Bruce's thunder. We're going to throw it out to Bruce. Bruce is standing on site of something very exciting that's going to be a new addition to the Shop and Dine District. Bruce?
So here we are in the heart of the Shop and Dine District to show you the type of progress that this city has been making from an economic development standpoint. It's been a very busy year for economic development for the Planning Department, the Planning Commission, and City Council. And this property really represents that forward progress that we're moving. We're standing on the old Fire Mountain property. It's a site that is going to be home to a brand new 40,000 square foot convention and banquet center. This is a site that's partially wooded, has an old restaurant. For those that have been here a long enough time like me, it was Ryan's before Fire Mountain, but it has been vacant for some time, and we are certainly happy to see what somebody's going to make a $10 million investment here in this site, which is well in the heart of our Shop and Dine District. But it's not just here, it's all over the city. Another example, at this same Planning Commission meeting and the council meeting that this case was approved, we have the old Kmart site. A lot of you may remember that Kmart is the second oldest Kmart in the history of that company. And we've gotten a proposal from a Fortune 500 company, in fact, U-Haul. They're going to put one of their mobility centers in there. They're going to put 100,000 square feet of cold climate-controlled storage, as well as some new 21st century amenities like electrical vehicle charging stations, bike share, car share. So we're not only seeing progress from a standpoint of properties being redeveloped, but we're seeing developments that are taking this city into the 21st century. So it's all very, very exciting. There's been a lot of other things. Some restaurants like Taco Bell over at Ford and Newburgh. On that same corner, we're seeing another type of use that we haven't seen in some time, and that's a senior-oriented facility. Sienna Health is putting up a 70,000 square foot congregate care facility. It's kind of a modern version of a nursing home. So again, it's that new modern type of development that we're starting to see. And a lot of that's being brought to us because of residential development. I think you've heard us say in the past that being able to attract new developments and modern developments, we need to show people what's going on here, how many new people are coming to this city. So we have the brand new Pulte sub on Joy Road. We have a brand new sub going in Ann Arbor Trail on an old school site. All of this kind of works together to continue this progress, right, that the city is making so that we can progress into the future and be a sustainable community a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So we all look forward to that. I think we're going to continue to see that type of progress and growth, and let's keep Westland moving forward.
Well, welcome back to this edition of The Buzz, and we just heard from Bruce Thompson, and he had a lot of really exciting news to share with us about some new businesses that are going to be breathing life into, you know, some buildings around the city that have been vacant for a little while. And in particular, that banquet facility, I think, is going to be a really great addition to the shop and dine district.
You know, absolutely. That's one of the things that, you know, with the shopping district, what you want to do is you want to bring in people, and that banquet facility is going to help us really draw a lot of people to the area. What a great reuse of a building. That's probably been one of our more challenging buildings in the shop and dine district to fill, only because of how big it was. But at the end of the day, what's amazing is that they're going to use that building and do, you know, in addition, it would be about 3 times the existing building. So it's going to be a heck of a project. That project alone is, as Bruce said, is $10 million. And, you know, you put that with the U-Haul building and the former Kmart's, we're starting to fill some of our more difficult buildings. And, you know, when you look all around, you're starting to see new businesses. And, you know, and I think that it's kind of, you know, it's, one thing leads to another. You got to hit a couple singles and they turn into doubles and triples and home runs. And, you know, you look at, you know, beautiful restaurants like, you know, the Firehouse Sub. You know, this is an inn unit here that's changed hands a couple times. It was previously a vitamin store, but I think that we've really found our home run for this piece here. And you look at buildings like, you know, Aubrey's, they're doing very well now in their new location, which was the former, former
Ruby Tuesdays.
Ruby Tuesdays, and Anna's house, which was in the Max and Irma's. So, you know, these are restaurants, new concepts that are coming in, filling old buildings, and they're doing extremely well. And, you know, Ashley's Furniture now is doing very well. You never know that was the former Bed Bath & Beyond building when you go by it. And I think all the buildings in this area are really going to benefit from the additional lighting that you're going to see go up in this district as part of this new program, because it's really going to light it up. And one thing I didn't say about those lights is these are all going to be decorative lights all through the shop and dine district, and they're going to be set up so we can decorate them and put holiday ornaments on them for Christmas. So it's going to be an exciting time. I really love seeing all this new investment. I know that everywhere I go in the City of Westland, everybody's talking about all this progress, and it's really exciting.
Well, absolutely, and like you kind of mentioned, as you know, one thing leads to another. So the city invests in its infrastructure and its amenities, and then, you know, these businesses come in, but they need new customers. So, and we do have some new subdivisions around the City of Westland. So tell me a little bit about those.
You know, we're very proud of those, and actually it takes those new homes to bring in these new retail stores and commercial outfits. We're so proud of Clyde Smith and Sons, that Clyde Smith Farms on Newburgh Road. They actually sold out, and that project is finished now, and they actually sold out and finished about 1.5 years ahead of schedule. So there's a huge demand. Those houses are really beautiful homes. When they finished out, they were selling well into the $300,000 range, which is giving us some new higher-end homes in town. There's a new subdivision now that's well underway. It's the Pulte subdivision on Joy Road between Wayne and Newburgh. That subdivision is really, really hot. They're starting to take off. When you go through there, you'll start to see all the lots that they laid out are now pretty much, they're starting to say sold, and you're starting to see a lot of the houses pop up. From a real estate standpoint for the city, I was excited to see one of their new spec houses. They actually have on the market for $414,000. So you see these new houses in Westland. Those really help bring up our median income for the city, which helps us bring in better retail, better retailers for the mall. So all in all, it's going to be really good. And it doesn't stop there. We've got a new residential project that's going to start next year at the former Hawthorne Valley site. And Westland City Council just recently approved another new subdivision in the Livonia Public School side of town over on Ann Arbor Trail at the site of one of the former schools that was taken down. And those houses are probably going to start off in the mid 2s to the 3 range, so they're going to be very popular. They're very, they're geared towards family. We're starting to see more ranches as people are starting to age in place. They want ranches, so I think it's going to be really good for the city. Those new residents will continue to bring more economic development for the city. So we're excited, and I can tell you is that you can really tell the temperature for your city as far as economic development is by if they're building new homes or not. And right now in Westland, they're building new homes just about everywhere they can.
Wow, it's great to see all of these new homes and new subdivisions popping up around the city. And it's also great that we haven't forgotten about our more established subdivisions in the city. And I know in 2016, your big initiative was the launch of our neighborhood makeover program. And the city crews have been hard at work going through the neighborhoods and really sprucing them up to making them look like new.
You're absolutely right. And I mentioned earlier, Westland's 50 years old now, so last year we kicked off our neighborhood makeover program, and I think this is something that really separates the city of Westland from some of the other suburban cities, these bedroom communities. We're reinvesting in our neighborhoods because it's great to have new development, new $300,000-$400,000 homes, but the meat and potatoes in Westland, we're an affordable community, and it's really because we have great established neighborhoods. So we're on year 2 of the neighborhood makeover program, and they're going full guns. They've been out. We had a very successful first year, but the second year we've actually really gotten a lot of work done. A lot of those projects that Ramsey talked about are part of our neighborhood makeover program, and if you haven't had a chance to take a look, if you go to the cityofwestland.com and you click on the neighborhood makeover program button, you can actually see the work that we've done. You can bring up your neighborhood to see if we've been there or not yet, and you can kind of check the progress in your neighborhood. The one thing that we want to do is we never really say we're finished with the neighborhood. The last thing I want is our DPW crews to go through and do all these improvements in your neighborhood, and then we say that we're done, and then you point out a couple things that we missed. So it's certainly a give and take, and we need our residents to help us. We've trimmed a lot of trees, we've cleaned a lot of sewers, we've replaced a lot of broken garbage and recycling cans. Part of the program, which a lot of people don't see the first time we come through your neighborhood, is we go through and we identify broken sidewalks, dangerous sidewalks, broken concrete, manhole covers that are collapsing, issues that may be happening in the right-of-ways or in people's backyards and city property. We identify that stuff, so as we start to do next year's projects and put our funding together, we can come back into those neighborhoods. And last year we started off in the P.D. Graham neighborhood, and we went through and we got a lot of data, and then this year as part of our projects, we went through and we replaced a lot of sidewalks, fixed a lot of roads, a lot of concrete repairs. So it's going to be something it's going to take us a few more years to get all the way through the city, but I don't know another city that's doing this at the comprehensive level that we are. Residents love it. When I talk with people, they say, man, it's the first time we've seen the trees trimmed in our area since we've lived there. When the guys are out with those Vector trucks cleaning out those catch basins and cleaning out the sewers, and the street sweepers are coming by, and we're painting fire hydrants, and the list goes on and on. People like to see action, and with this neighborhood makeover program, they're really seeing a lot of action. And what's beautiful about it is these are our Westland employees that are out there doing the work. So if you see them, tell them they're doing a good job because they're working really hard. One of the things that they're doing a lot too is they're changing a lot of signs out. We have a lot of people tell us that their signs are faded or that they're not straight anymore. So that's a big part too. So it's something that we're very proud of. It's going to continue for the next couple years, and would love your feedback to let us know how we're doing.
Well, and as you mentioned, you can go on to the cityofwestland.com and you can kind of view the progress. And then we also have the Westland Click and Fix app, which allows people to communicate in a kind of streamlined way with City Hall. So if we missed an area, or if there's an issue that wasn't necessarily on our checklist that residents would like us to address, they can submit that through the Westland Click and Fix app.
Have you used the Click and Fix app yet?
I have a little bit, yeah. It's pretty simple to use.
It really is, and it's free. You can download it for free onto one of your smartphones or tablets, and I use it all the time. It drives the guys nuts. My pet peeve is is those faded out stop signs and things. So when I see those stop signs, I stop and take a picture of them. But there's also been some improvements to it lately. So if you haven't used it lately, you certainly need to, because it's really simple. And when it goes in there, we're turning around fixing that stuff within the next 72 hours. So it's actually one of the most effective ways to get things fixed in our town.
And we are constantly updating the app to include new functionality so people can communicate with us on things, you know, of all across all of our departments. And one of those is our Parks and Rec department, and we use that in order to keep our 19 parks looking great.
You know, we do, and I tell you, our parks do look great. We're so proud of them. You know, a couple years ago, the public called us out. They said that, you know, you're investing in a lot of different areas. When are you going to get to the parks? And I think the Westland City Council worked with us. They stepped up to the plate. We've invested in all of our parks. Our baseball diamonds have all been redone. And well, why don't we just kick it out to Brian Harnels? He's overseen most of this work. I know he's super proud of it, and he's actually out in one of our parks right now. Brian?
Hello, everybody. I'm here at beautiful Central City Park. Our latest addition to our great Parks and Rec system here in Westland is our Lions Club Pavilion that you can see behind me. This was completed this summer. It will be available for rent in the spring of 2019. Right next to me as well, there's our beautiful soccer fields. We were able to add irrigation this spring. We overseeded, aerated, top dressed. Wayne Westland Soccer League agreed to allow the fields to rest this summer. They will be kicking off their fall season here this weekend. We can't wait to have them. Thank you very much for your patience. This summer has been a summer of progress in our Parks and Rec system here in Westland. We have gone into every park. We have painted, we have cleaned, we have added amenities. A couple of those things I'd like to talk to you about. Voss Park. We redid the baseball fields, new fencing, improved field conditions. We added new benches. We also resurfaced 2 parking lots, enlarged them. We're adding 2 basketball courts this fall. We added lighting for our Westland Meteors football program and cheerleaders. Great park. We also did work at JC. At JC, we redid all 3 baseball fields. New fencing, improved field conditions. You'll see North Brothers up there, great sponsor of those fields over there. Always happy to have them. And then right next to that is our Mike Madonna Ice Arena. If you haven't been by there, you got to check out 15-foot tall, 75-foot wide, brand new Mike Madonna banner that really sets off that ice arena. At Stottlemyre Park, we resurfaced the basketball courts, the tennis courts, the walking path, added a new 20-foot by 40-foot pavilion. You'll notice under that is 4 of our new picnic tables, which you'll see popping up at most of the parks around the city. So this summer has really been a summer of progress. We've went into all 18 parks, improved them tremendously. We'll continue to do that through the fall. It makes us have some of the best parks in Michigan, right here in the all-American city of Westland. Head to our website, www.cityofwestland.com. Under Parks and Rec Department, you can view all of those parks. Many of them have pavilions for rent. Here at Central City, we have 6 outdoor pavilions for rent, the Farmers Market for rent, and then starting in the spring of 2019, the Lions Club Pavilion for rent right behind me. So come on out to these beautiful parks, watch the games. WYAA baseball is back in the city of Westland on our fields. We're happy to have you back. Thanks for coming back. We'll continue to make the parks the best parks in Michigan. Thank you very much.
Well, welcome back, and you can really tell that Brian is very excited about all the things going on in our parks, and he should be, because him and his team have done a really great job making our parks portfolio even better than it was just a year ago.
You know, absolutely. It's really looking good, and people are really starting to notice. And you know, it's one of the reasons people buy houses in the city of Weston is because of our parks, and so we're proud of the work they're doing there. We're also proud, while it's not a park, the Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center, they've been getting some upgraded enhancements as well too for recreational opportunities. Obviously, the new baseball fields at Kozowski Park are a hit, and this year I know the WYA started playing there for the first time, and That's exciting. The Norway Boxing Club is still a great place for after school fitness, and they're doing a lot of great things in the Norway community. One of the things that we're able to do now in our parks, because we kind of reorganized our DPW crews, and we got those guys that are working on the neighborhood makeover program, but we've also carved out a very dedicated crew to work with Brian on keeping the parks tip top. And right now they've got those parks, they're getting mowed on average about every 4 days, which is something that we've never been able to do in the past. And we're very proud that the city council worked with us to put money in the budget this year to buy new dedicated equipment for our parks teams. And we've always kind of again, it's pulled back and forth trying to use that equipment in several different areas, but we're going to have dedicated equipment now just for the parks. It's going to be state-of-the-art stuff, so guys can come in and do a really nice job and keep those parks looking nice. And another thing that Parks and Recreation does that I don't think Brian and his team get enough credit for, they handle all the rental options for the city, the ballrooms at City Hall, and those things are booked about every week. And they also do the pavilion rentals, and they also oversee our park ranger program, which is how we're able to run those programs and keep those parks looking nice. So it's a lot of work, but I think Parks and Rec has really stepped up their game this summer. They've done a great job.
I agree, and as our neighborhood services crews are out making sure that and DPS crews are out making sure the neighborhoods look great, and we've got our parks crews out making sure the parks look great. So the city is really putting in a lot of effort to spruce everything up. But of course, we need that effort to be matched somewhat by the residents as well in sprucing up their own properties. And I know that's why you've recently launched the Beautification Awards program.
Yeah, Aubrey, you nailed it, is that, the city is making a lot of investment in the neighborhoods, and we think a lot of these investments will help raise property values for residents. But at the same time, we're also encouraging our residents to get involved, and our business owners too, to kind of let's use this time as the city's working on beautifying our properties, to take a look at your own house. And we're asking residents to take a look at your house. Maybe there's something you can do on your own property, trim the trees, maybe a little paint, replace some fences, or just kind of give it a little more curb appeal. And with that, we thought that if residents and business owners are willing to do that, they should be rewarded for it. So we started a new program called the Beautification Awards. And Aubrey, you want to talk how that works?
Yes, so we've had a lot of success with the Compassionate City Awards that you launched last year. People, when they see their neighbors and people in the community doing good things, they want them to be recognized. And of course people don't do these things for recognition, but it's always nice to get a pat on the back for putting in the extra work. So we are taking nominations. You can go to our website and nominate yourself or someone else. We love before and after pictures, and they really help tell the story and show all the effort that was put in. And then our neighborhood services team will comb through and kind of choose some winners, and then usually they are presented with an award or a certificate, and just an opportunity to recognize them for all their hard work.
Absolutely, and don't be shy. Nominate yourself. If your spouse has been working hard on making the outside of your house look nice, nominate them, or if your kids or just the whole family, or if you notice a neighbor of yours has really done a good job this year improving their landscaping, or just doing something that caught your attention, please nominate them, because we've got plenty of awards and we want to nominate as many people as we can. Our neighborhood resource officers are actually going through the neighborhoods, and as they work with residents to improve their properties, they're also nominating people as well. So it's been very productive. We love to see those before and after pictures, and so definitely take advantage of this new Beautification Award program, because we certainly want to reward you for the extra effort that you're putting in with your house.
Well, that's right. And so if you happen to have a neighborhood services employee show up at your doorstep, then they may have just noticed that you have put in an extra amount of work and just want to show their appreciation to you. So I think that that's a great program, and we're really excited to launch that.
Well, absolutely. So We talk about getting the public involved to help us with our beautification project. Aubrey, we also recently asked the public to help us out with some new visioning that we're doing for the City of Westland. And the Westland Downtown Development Authority recently partnered up with some of Michigan's top planning firms, McKenna and Associates, and the Gibbs Planning Group out of Birmingham. We did a 4-day event. We did it at City Hall, and we asked residents to help us out as we start to reimagine the Ford Road corridor. And we had a 4-day event, and we had a lot of participation. And basically what we're asking residents to do is help us. Let's take a look at Ford Road. I think we can do so much better. When you look at the Ford Road corridor from the Canton border to the Garden City border, there's a lot of opportunity there. There's the former City Hall site, which was the main piece of this visioning session. And our city administration lead person on this project is Charles House. He's our very talented economic development director. And with that said, why don't we just kick it right out to Charles, and he can talk about how the event went. Charles?
I'm standing here on the site of the former City Hall site for the City of Westland, and I'm also adjacent to one of the crown jewels for the city, Central City Park. We just completed a workshop, a 4-day workshop, that was focused on what's going to happen next, the progress for the city. Those workshops included, or the days of the workshop included, a variety of things that really that offered a lot of public involvement. We started out with our steering committee meeting. That group actually met every day, all of the 4 days. We also had a bus tour that reviewed the Ford Road, the 3 miles of Ford Road that runs through the City of Westland. We took a look at how things look today, and then how we would like them to look in the future. A lot of good input was provided, not only by the steering committee, but also the stakeholders committee, which was, it went from obviously the public. It also included the fire and the police departments. People from the court were there. We had people from zoning and planning, all providing input and guidance towards the planning committees, which were the Gibbs Planning Company as well as McKenna. We had a variety of workshops that included, various groups from the public, including neighborhood associations, seniors and youth, outside agencies, etc. So we had, all kinds of input that was extremely valuable towards the planning effort that everybody was working towards. We kind of look at this opportunity, and adjacent to the Central City Park. Again, one of the crown jewels, and everything there obviously would be left intact as a result of the efforts that everybody put in. But you look at this opportunity here on Ford Road. We've got almost a half a mile worth of frontage between Carlson and Newburgh, which is a really unique opportunity on a significant road like Ford Road, which carries 35,000 cars a day. But just as important to that is up to maybe 150 acres that's going to be available. For this mixed-use development that we would like to have happen here. The focus of that would be towards a neighborhood development. And again, when you start looking in Western Wayne County for up to 120 acres worth of opportunity for a developer, this is very unique. So we think it really positions the city in a unique way for progress, for what happens next. And I think the result of the 4 days was 3 different plan options, but that's really just the beginning. This is all a process, and as we continue to work through this, there's still the opportunity for the public to provide input. You can go to, there's a website, reimaginefordroad.com, and there's still opportunities for feedback and input associated with what the end result is going to be. The goal is to arrive at a consensus plan that will then be used to promote this opportunity to the development community through an RFP, and with that we would then identify a developer that's qualified to actually implement the plan that we'd love to see happen here at this site. So again, it was a great effort, lots of input. I mean, a tremendous effort on all parts, and when it's said and done, I think that this is going to be a huge step, not just as far as the progress for the old City Hall site, but all of Ford Road and, of course, the City of Westland.
Back to the buzz, and we were just with Charles at the former City Hall site, which Charles never had the opportunity to work in. You and I both did. But it was really amazing to see all of the things that came from that visiting session, those visiting sessions, and all of the different opportunities for investment and redevelopment that were discussed there.
Yeah, you know, I think that I was really glad to see the amount of effort that went in, you know, from the steering committee, public input, the stakeholders, McKinnon and Gibbs, Robert Gibbs, their group. They did an incredible job of kind of expanding people's minds and showing things that have worked in similar sized projects around, not just in Michigan, but around the country. And there was a lot of effort that went into it, but I think overall it was very productive.
Well, and I know you attended those sessions. Was there anything that jumped out at you as being particularly relevant or exciting with regards to the process?
You know, I think the thing that jumped out to me the most was you know, working with the planners, they actually took a bigger look at the area. We've been kind of focusing on the City Hall proper site, which was with City Hall and the former Bailey Center site. We had basically 40 acres. But, you know, our planners asked us to take a little bit bigger look. A lot of that land is surrounded by property that's owned by the county. The county has told us that they're willing to work with us on a redevelopment of that property. So probably the biggest thing that stepped out to me was that we went from basically thinking we had 40 acres to work with, that we have maybe as much as 150 acres of developable land, you know, which basically goes from Newburgh, you know, on Newburgh Road from Ford to Carlson, you know, down to Marquette, you know, basically the whole city block. It's actually half a mile by half a mile. So, and the one thing that really I think surprised a lot of people was once we did the you know, some of the studies for the area for residential studies and commercial studies, it really showed that that property could support a lot of residential. So we saw a lot of residential on that site. And you know, some of the ideas people said we should build a new rec center. What was amazing is when you look at 150 acres and you site a rec center, well, you can really do a whole lot more than that. So I think they really did a good job of opening up our eyes to potentially a much bigger development than we thought was possible.
Well, that's great. And I think one of the other great things is that, you know, the planning process and these decisions are not being made in a vacuum. You've really, you know, put the word out and put the call out to business owners, residents, and other stakeholders around the community to get engaged and give their feedback on this. And also in a number of other opportunities for them to be involved and get involved with the city.
You know, I think our timing is perfect. I think that smart cities look down the road. You know, so we're visioning on what we want to be, you know, and what we want to be as a city, you know, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road. So I think Ford Road is really in a prime opportunity now because a lot of the economic development in the last decade has gone to Canton on the Ford Road side. And so now that that's pretty much that property isn't available anymore, we're starting to see the spillover to the Westland side. And I think from a traffic management standpoint, we've learned a lot from Canton's economic development so that as we start to redevelop our portion of Ford Road, we can try to, you know, maybe improve traffic flow a little bit more. And I think a lot of time was spent on traffic flow during this process.
Yeah, I'm sure that that was one of the things that was valuable, getting feedback from residents in that area who don't want to see necessarily the area become extra congested with whatever goes in there. So if people don't necessarily have an opinion about the Ford Road site, there's still a lot of other opportunities for them to get involved in the city and other decision making on your boards and commissions. Can you talk a little bit about those?
You know, absolutely. We're always looking for boards and commission members, and you can go on the city's website and there's a button right on the homepage that you can fill out an application. It'll tell you which boards and commissions have openings. I appreciate the city council working with us to we pay stipends now on most of those boards and commissions, and because it's hard for people to miss work to maybe serve on a board or commission. So by the stipends, well, at the very least, it'll cover their gas mileage and some of their time. And you know, if you did not have a chance to participate, you can still participate if you go to www.reimaginefordroad.com you can see the conceptual plans that came out of the final review or the reveal. We're going to have color renderings of those available in the City Hall lobby shortly so that you can continue to give us input. And we're going to come right back in October and we're going to do another one of these visioning sessions that's going to be focused on the Shop and Dine District. And we're going to take a look at the mall area and start to plan on what the mall area is going to look like 5, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, because we know that retail is changing in America. We see that with Amazon coming on, brick and mortar retail is going away. So the more that we can plan for the changes in retail, I think the more we'll be better off as a community. So stay tuned to that. There'll be equal opportunities for the public to get involved. I think we're going to do a lot of these visioning sessions. We're actually going to hold these right at Westland Shopping Center. So they're going to be a big part of it too. So it's a great way to be part of the city's future, and I encourage you to get involved.
Well, a lot of opportunity for people to get involved, a lot of work being done all around the city, but we're not all work and no play here in the City of Westland. So, in August we did have probably one of our most fun events of the year, Blues, Brews, and Barbecue, and this year was an absolutely incredible turnout. So many people enjoyed it. Mayor, I know you got to attend both days, and just tell me a little bit about what that's like, kind of just seeing an event that size in your own community and how people enjoy that.
It's been very satisfying to see this Blues, Brews, and Barbecue take off and grow. We struggled there for a while to kind of replace the summer festival, and with the advent of Blues, Brews, and Barbecue, it's really turned into, I would say, our signature event here in the City of Westland. This year's event, I think, was our best ever. We had 2 days of just absolute perfect weather. We had more blues bands than we've ever had before. I love the Soul Men. They were back, and we had a lot of fun with them. The Chamber of Commerce, which manages this event for us, they had more barbecue vendors than we've ever had before, so nobody left certainly still hungry. And the craft beers, it's a continuing growing phenomenon here in Michigan, so it was great to have those out there as well. But it's just a fun event. Everybody there is having a good time. You see a lot of people come out to this event that don't come out to some of our other events throughout the year, people that have lived in our community a long time. So it's great to see them come out and enjoy their community. This year's was no exception. We take some of the proceeds that are generated by the event and we pass those back to our local community organizations who man the event for us, and they're basically our labor force for 2 days. This year we were fortunate to be able to give back $20,000 to 16 local civic groups, and in our 8-year history of Blues, Brews, and Barbecue, we've been able to give back over $200,000. And by having these guys involved and raise that money, it turns into kind of their big fundraisers for the year, and then they take that money and they turn around and reinvest into other great programs in the community. So it just kind of keeps revolving and evolving, and I'm looking forward to next year's Blues, Brews, and Barbecue. I think that bringing back the fireworks was really key to that, and I know people really enjoy the fireworks, and it's nice to see folks lined up and down Ford Road again to watch the fireworks in Westland, and every year those just get better and better. So Aubrey, I don't know about you, I really enjoyed it this year.
Absolutely. The weather was beautiful both days, which we lucked out on because that can be hit or miss sometimes, but I think that really helped bring out the energy and the positive energy, and the food was incredible. So yeah, it was great, and I think a lot of times it's such a fun event, people forget that it is actually for charity and that those funds do benefit all of these local organizations that are doing incredible work for our community year round. So yes, I look forward to next year as well, and while we take a break, why don't we check out some highlights of this year's event at our Blues, Brews, and Barbecue.
Hey bartender, I went bowling the other night, started drinking and got real tight. I knew reaching on my prayer, felt so good I had to do it again. I said, hey bartender, blowing, blowing, blow my baby back to me. Well, I'm blowing, blowing, blow my baby back to me. heart's gonna be a misery. They think I'm not human, and my heart is made of stone. But I never had no problems, and my choice traveled from. I'm a man, yes I am, and I can't have
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
"65% of bicyclist deaths happen in the dark. Use a bike light when riding and watch for bikes when driving at night." Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
Well, welcome back, and what a great opportunity for us to look back at one of our greatest summer events and all the fun that was had in the community. But just because the summer's over doesn't mean that the great events stop in the city of Westland.
Absolutely. We actually have some of our best events of the year coming up, with fall right around the corner, and Halloween's going to be here before we know it. And of course, we always look forward to Mr. and Mrs. Claus making their annual trip back to City of Westland.
Well, absolutely, and there's much more than that. So let's take a look at all the great events that we have coming up. And of course, check out WLND and the city's website on the calendar page to stay up to date on all of these things as we go through the planning process. And when we come back, I will be talking to Brad Wilson, the owner of Firehouse Subs. I am joined now by Brad Wilson, the owner of Firehouse Subs in Westland. And Brad, I know you guys have been open for about 8 months. How's everything going for you?
It's going very well. We've been real happy with the response we've gotten. We're kind of getting our feet underneath us now and kind of catching our stride. But it's been going real well.
Well, that's great. And, you know, one of the really great things about Firehouse Subs are all the little touches here. You know, the Firehouse concept is very interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about the history of the concept?
Sure. We were founded in 1994 by a pair of brothers in Jacksonville, Florida. And they were firefighters. They have a local connection up here. Their grandfather and father were from the Detroit area. So they started the chain down there, and we've moved up north and west since then. We've been open in our location in Plymouth for about 5 years, and like you say, 8 months here.
Well, and I know that there's a program where some of the proceeds from these locations actually benefit local fire departments. Is that true?
Yes, our Public Safety Foundation is supported by our sale of pickle buckets here in the restaurant for $2. We round up at the register where people can round up their purchase to the nearest dollar. All that money goes to local first responders. They try to keep it local to restaurants in the area, and I know we've gotten donations to Garden City, Westland, Plymouth, and cities around. So.
Well, it's great. So, you can feel confident that when you're supporting Firehouse Subs, you're also supporting firefighters in the local community as well. So 8 months in, I'm sure you've had a lot of visitors in and out of here. Any signature favorites in Westland that you've noticed, some subs that people are ordering more than others?
Our Italian sub sandwich down here is the most popular at this location by a lot. Our steak and cheese, beef and cheddar brisket are a couple of the other favorites. But feel free to come in and try them all. So.
And the mayor and I mentioned earlier the incredible selection of hot sauces that you have here, but you can actually put anything you want on your subs, and there's no additional fee for that, right?
Right. Our subs, our 10 standard subs come with like standard builds on them, but yeah, you can add or remove anything you'd like. Then we've also got like hot peppers, banana peppers, green bell peppers, things that you can add at no charge.
Sounds delicious. Yeah. And I know you guys also offer catering services as well.
We do. We're just kind of getting rolling on that too. We have cold catering platters that feed 10 people. And then we can go up from one platter for a small party up to 20 platters for a corporate event.
Well, that's great. Well, will you tell everyone at home where they can find you, how they can get more information?
Sure. Well, we are on Warren Road, across from Westland Mall. 35579 Warren is our address. Our phone number is 734-858-7040. You can go to firehousesubs.com and find our location. You can order online. You can order catering online too.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Brad. And if you don't mind, I am going to partake in one of these.
Feel free.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Thank you very much.
Well, welcome back to The Buzz. And I have to say, Aubrey, boy, you sure seemed like you enjoyed that segment.
I'm getting hungry again just having watched that. So I certainly did. It was great. It's great to see a Westland resident doing, such great business in his own community. And I'm glad that this is located right across the street from City Hall.
Absolutely. So were you able to score me one of those brisket subs to go?
Yeah, I'll have to work on that still. I might have eaten them out of brisket subs. So, but I did put a bottle of their hot sauce in my purse. So.
All right. Well, perfect. So, well, we had a great show today. We want to thank all of our guests today on the show. We've learned a lot of good investments, a lot of great investments, a lot of new things happening in town. And we're looking towards the future. So, Aubrey, nice job as well.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you for sharing all of the information with us. And thank you all for watching. And we'd also like to thank all of the people, Ramsey, Brian, Bruce Thompson, and Charles, who shared information about all the work that their respective departments are doing. Of course, WLND for putting this show together for us, Firehouse Subs for hosting us today. And as always, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and visit cityofwestland.com and watch WLND to stay up to date on all of the latest news and information that's going on in our All-American City. So we will see you next time on The Buzz.